From this ledger, it's easy to know that for each period, what is the liability, what have you paid, and what is outstanding for that specific period, and which periods haven't you paid. Okay, so that becomes very easy now. As you can see, this ledger now doesn't require a technical accountant to explain for you. It's a period paid, you've either paid or not. Yes? Now, for purposes of payment, you're supposed to go to the payment page to see. We've now connected the tax position to the payment page. Sometimes you don't have to navigate so much to know your principal. So when you go to the payment page, you're able to see directly while registering a payment. And then you see which tax is outstanding. Let's just demonstrate for you, sir. Okay. Account. Yeah. So select as you earn. Yeah. Okay, so here is a client attempting to register a payment. At this point, we are showing you what is the outstanding tax, what interest is outstanding. Now, if a taxpayer wants to take benefit of the waiver, so it means you're only going to pay 11 million, and then the 27 will be waived. We also don't allow you to pay more than that because by default, it will be waived. You don't want to collect tax which is automatically going to be waived. So this has been made easier even at payment registration. So you only get a payment of principal tax, and that's what you go and pay. Yeah. Yes. Honorable Minister, this new web URA port also allows for multiple languages. As you can see, we can change it to show in Luganda for people who like to navigate it using Luganda or any other language. So it allows for change of language and is, as you can see. Oh. Because we have taxpayers all over the world, we allow all languages. Swahili.
Yeah. Okay. Welcome. I'll hand over to my colleague, the technician, to take us through the machine. Yeah.
Thank you. A very good morning. You're welcome to SICPA booth. This is the equipment that we have that we usually install at the manufacturer's site. So usually the bottles are passing on the conveyor. We have the barcode readers that detect the barcode because each item is identified uniquely by the barcode. So all that information is relayed by the manufacturer to URA for registration purposes. All that information comes through the URA servers to our server on the site, the factory, and then that information comes here. In most cases, they have to select the SKU they're going to produce, and when that is done, this machine is interlocked with the conveyor of the manufacturer. So if there's a wrong product on this conveyor, and this barcode reader detects that that's a wrong product, it will stop, and it will stop the conveyor. Kind of showing you that indicates a red or a green to show that red, it has stopped. There's a problem, check. And also the errors are shown. The errors are shown here, and you'll see wrong barcode. From there, you have to select the right SKU in terms of the product. So when that is done, SKU is the store keeping unit, which is this container. Yes, there are different types. Exactly. So they run over here, they're detected, and then the code is printed on, and then most important of all is this scanner. It is the one now which gets the serial number out of this data matrix. This serial number is sent to this PC. From there, all the information about this product is added to that serial number, sent to URA, and URA is able to now to tell. Yes, so each product is captured. Yes, sir.
We visited some of the manufacturers in Nairobi, to be specific, and they're saying that the cost of the stamps are different depending on if it is an identification.
Okay, yeah. The prices will vary because these stamps are different. The stamp for soda is different from the stamp for juice or for beer. They are different. So it depends on which category. Now, beer is beer. Nairobi is where they do beer. So the stamp is different from that of water. It's unique.
What are you saying?
I think the direct answer would be it is your investment model. How you calculate recover. For the bigger volumes, 1,000 stamps. For the smaller volumes, you recover less. Because soda is soda and so on.
There is economy of scale in some products because they are very.
Yeah, that's also part of.
I think as the Commissioner General is here, the Minister of Finance, based on our analysis, for example, we found that Nairobi is paying about $5.7 million for one company from actually $9 million.
50.4 billion of last financial year and 24.1 billion of the year before last financial year. So it's good to monitor the performance of the local governments. All revenues collected through Uganda Revenue Authority to the consolidated account. And then also through this, we're able to give out instant tins for the taxpayers that do not have tins. We capture the information related to URA. URA returns the tin, and we're able to serve the taxpayer. And then also we have interfaced this with IFMS for reconciliation purposes. We are now in 124 local governments. The local governments means the cities, municipalities, and the districts. A total of 124. Sorry?
Total is how much?
The overall is 176, but we are in 124 right now as we speak.
So a simple question. Local governments normally complain that you override them and maybe collect taxes that ought not to be yours. What are the different tax heads and how do you relate to those local governments?
All the revenue sources of that we collect through the system are according to the Local Government Act, CAP 243, and we have put them here, like trade license, hotel tax, property tax. We only collect what is allowable within the local government. Yes. Apart from now, when we are interfacing with URA for presumptive tax, we are only providing another channel for a taxpayer to be able to comply with the revenue source. So we don't collect anything outside the law.
But what is happening with the other districts that are not on the system now? How are they handling their local revenues?
Those that are not yet on the system,
Honorable Minister, you're most welcome. We want to welcome you back. Ladies and gentlemen, our chief guest is back in the tent after what has been a very, very busy tour of our 3 centers, the data center, the contact center, and finally the booth. Honorable Minister, thank you so much for your time this morning and for gracing those centers where the URA, working with our partners, the UNDP, are pioneering the digital transformation conversation that government continues to promote. So ladies and gentlemen, we will now quickly transition into the formal event, but allow me in a very special way, again, run through our existing protocol. The Honorable Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, the Honorable Matia Kaseja, members of Parliament, and Honorable Minister, I see almost all the members of Parliament on the Finance Committee. I think we can hold a Finance Committee meeting here of Parliament. And that shows the power of a stakeholder engagement that the URA has. So I want to recognize the members of Parliament who are here, and we want to thank you for joining us this morning. The URA board, represented here by some board members, our Commissioner General, Mr. John Rujochi, who is our host this morning and early afternoon, the URA management team, and I'm speaking for URA by recognizing our very own UNDP, represented here by the Deputy Country Manager, the Country Representative, Shilangatia. Yes, please give them a round of applause because that's the support we have got from the UNDP. All the taxpayers in this room. Honorable Minister, I want to report that we have an ongoing live registration process for everyone who is here. Members of Parliament, there is a QR code on your table. If you haven't registered, just scan the QR code. We also want to know you are here. But Honorable Minister, I was just letting you know that everyone who is here has a TIN number. So all the taxpayers are here in this room. And everyone here is a taxpayer. Can we give ourselves a round of applause? What I have asked the domestic tax team to do is verify if they are paying on time. And the only advantage I know, a lot of our people, Honorable Minister, were worried of registering when they came. And when they discovered the TIN number is not being asked for, they were comfortable. So everyone has registered. So we want to welcome you, ladies and gentlemen, to this launch of the digital strategy. Honorable Minister, we've provided the strategy for download. Again, URA has gone digital, so we don't have physical copies. All we have on the tables is a QR code, which we've asked our guests to scan, and they will immediately download the QR code. We want to thank the members of the Fourth Estate, the media organizations represented here. Of course, Honorable Minister, I'm representing UBC here, so that goes without mentioning. But we have other stakeholders, including, I did see my other brother, the Honorable Barieku from Baba TV and Baba FM, who is here, and I was told he pays his taxes on time. I want to recognize the Nation Media Group, and I think Sam is representing the Nation Media Group. Honorable Minister, they are going through a transition, and we are hoping the next administration at Nation Media Group will be a bit more friendly to government. So we welcome you. The financial institutions that are represented here, the agencies represented here. We have the URSB, Honorable Minister, who will help us with the registration. NITA Uganda, who are very critical in the conversation around the digitization process. They are represented here. And your very own friends, Honorable Minister Kasita, are also here, and they're well represented. So we want to appreciate our traders. We want to kickstart with opening remarks from our Commissioner City. So may I invite Mr. Robert Mutebi to come and make welcome remarks. He will run us through a PowerPoint presentation, setting the tone for this digital strategy. And I did reference the fact that we now have the strategy on our phones. So as he runs through the strategy and the highlights of the strategy, you can be looking at the strategy you have on your phones. And I want to welcome, can we give a round of applause to Mr. Robert?
Our guest of honor, the Honorable Minister for Finance, Planning and Economic Development, the Permanent Secretary, and the Secretary of the Treasury, or the representative, members of Parliament, the resident representative of the United Nations Development Program, who supported us to hold this function, officials from the ministry, departments, government agencies, the business community, our URA board, senior management colleagues and staff, members of the media, distinguished guests. Good morning, or is it afternoon? My job here is very, very simple, and I'll make it quick. It's really to tell us about where we are and why we are here today. We are launching our digital strategy this morning, the digitalization and IT strategy. And the story is really simple. That at the URA, we've changed the game. Initially, we've, by and large, been playing checkers. And if some of us know checkers, it's draft. We're familiar with that game. It doesn't require a lot of trying to play with this. It's not working. Can you help me with this? Yeah, this is what checkers looks like. It's a very simple game. It's highly reactionary. It is normally frenzied, quite fast-paced and the like, and has very limited strategy. I think many of us have played this game. What we are moving to right now is playing chess. And the difference here is that this is a more complex game. It is strategic. You need to think ahead of time. Right now, when we talk about tax administration, we know, for example, e-commerce is some complicated space that you need to figure out. And each piece plays a unique, is very unique in its ability. Some of us who have been walking around, you realize that what we do in manufacturing is different from what we do in fast-moving consumer goods. It's quite different from what we do for the local government, and we have to build these kinds of systems every other time. You need to think. Yeah, sure. Thank you. Clear. Clear. Clear.
Check, check, check.
There you are. Well, I was locked in one place, and it's not typical IT people to be in one place. But anyway, thank you. What I was saying really is that you need to think about the moves ahead. We're living in a world that is becoming more complicated in terms of business. So you need a strategy to win and ability to think. And how we think in the URA is really a story of data and being able to drive an organization that's data-driven. And so, because it's chess, it's a more complicated game, but it's what we need at the URA to be able to play as a high-performance team that meets the targets that we're given for the benefit of our country. To be able to achieve this mission, as the URA, we've taken on two major assignments, especially from a technology angle. One is to simplify our customer journeys. And wherever we've moved, we've seen USSD, we've seen portals, we've seen a revamp of the touch points that we engage through with our clients. Today, you can get support on WhatsApp from URA. You can be able to log onto a portal, like a touch point, and be able to log your issue. One day I was moving in the corridors up there, and I used to see people coming in all the time. But this time I meet a guy, and I asked him, what are you doing? How can I help you? And he gave me a ticket number and said, I'm looking for so-and-so. He had the name, and he's seated with this ticket number of mine for this number of days. And it was a hunt for an individual who is sitting with a ticket number. My pleasure for me was that he's not just roaming around the building, but now that because of the technologies we have, it's easier to engage and track and know where we are. So digital channels are also going to help us with our reach in terms of how far we can go into the tax base and the population. Where we are right now, we cannot open stations in every district. But with things like a USSD channel, we are able to allow every Ugandan to be able to pay tax from their bedrooms, from the market, from wherever they are, schools and the like. And for us to be able to do this, again, we've also changed the game. That now we're not just roaming around, we are collecting a lot of data. I think you've seen machines like SIGPA that sit within the factory and real time gives us what the production volumes look like, by what product type, by what volume, and that translates simply into revenue that we're looking for. So there's a lot of investment that we're putting into our infrastructure because we believe that data is a gold mine. This data is what gives us the financial data we need, and to understand the financial flows, it is what gives us visibility over the economy, because Bank of Uganda, the Ministry of Finance, and everyone will depend on this data to be able to know which goods are in the market, how are they selling, what is the challenge, and what can we do better. But to be able to do that, there's a lot of investment that we do within our technology, in terms of networks, in terms of collection, in terms of storage, in terms of the research and the analysis. We're putting together teams of data scientists that should be able to interpret this data. And we've seen that we're visualizing this data so that it's easier for us to interpret it and to share it with the communities that and stakeholders that we work with. And so much goes into this. I will not jump into what we're doing, what there is here, but I think the story is that URA, to be able to play this complex game, we are collecting a lot of data from telcos, from manufacturers, from people who are merchanting and trading, so many different things, and we're interpreting this to find the implications on our revenues and on our policies. And so this strategy has really just taken an approach that seeks for us to solve the problems that we see within the URA from that regard. And we've been sitting down to identify the issues, and we've created actionable solutions. And out of those solutions, we've created the actionable practical solutions, and now we're going to operationalize them. And so the book or the strategy that you have by the QR code or the copy, for some of you who have it, is just our roadmap on how we are going to be able to walk this journey. And very quickly, from a technology point of view, these are the wins that we're looking to achieve. Number one, that we'll be able to provide all our clients an instant service, or near instant service. When we were walking around, most of the questions we got were about queues at the border, they were about delays in interpretation, they were about so much of how fast do we execute our duty. So our role and why we're deploying technology is to make sure that we offer an instant service. Number two, we are again going out to use technology to make it inclusive for everybody. Somebody was asking me, but what are you doing for the local government, for the farmer out there who is not on the books? And we've created a USSD channel that would allow them, using their feature phone that they only use for mobile money, to be able to pay taxes off that very phone. And some of us, even in the city, taxi drivers and the like, have been able to pay taxes or renew their driving permits without going onto these complicated portals that we have on the website, but just simply by dialing *285# on their mobile phone, they're able to do that. Number three is really to make our systems interoperable. Some of the work that you saw, for example, with IRAS, is integration with district, with all the MDAs, ministries, departments, and agencies, for us to come together and build a tax ecosystem that then is able to deliver value. And the number of things in there that we're doing. But overall, we want to be able to build an environment that's simply plug and play. If an MDA shows up and they want to contribute in terms of lesser fees or taxes and collection, then they can do that. If a bank shows up and they want to plug with us and deliver this service, it's seamless and easy. And this is really what we call our must-win battles in this strategy. And for us to be able to execute on this strategy, what we've done is to break it down into particular objectives. And those objectives are informed by a value proposition that I'll simply walk through, that we want to offer the instant services, like I've said, inclusive and interoperable. And the value proposition that we want is really centered on the pains that we've had as the URA. One is a client-centric service. We have not always been known to be client-centric, but we are working very hard to make sure that whatever we do it so professionally and centered on the client. Number two, that our ledgers are accurate, that there is no contestation on the position of the ledger. And when we were walking through there, we saw that we've broken down this ledger to know what's the penalty, what's the interest, what is the principal tax. And right now we're running with a waiver to say if you pay the principal tax, the penalty and the interest should be waived. So we want to make sure that going forward, our ledgers are accurate. Number three is that our systems and services uptime is 99.99%. That's why we built that data center. And that's why we continue to invest money into technology to ensure that our service delivery is real-time, regardless of whatever technical faults might exist. And lastly, that our data is reliable and accurate. And this is both internal and public data, because a lot of organizations, including government, including international organizations, depend on our data to do research and to understand the economic environment in Uganda. So for us to be able to deliver all this in terms of the customer value proposition is why this strategy is broken down into the different objectives. I'll not run through each one of them, but quickly to provide clarity and certainty for taxpayers so that they do not have any questions about what is URA, how to engage with URA, or how to get their problem solved, or when they need information from the URA. The new portal is simplified in terms of navigation to make sure that it's clear and easy for the taxpayer to understand their obligation with us. Number two is to make it easy and that these stakeholders comply with their obligations. So we're making sure we have enough channels. IFRIS, for example, is one of those areas where we've struggled. And we're working on a mobile app to make sure we put this on the tab so that even a person in Chikubo or Shauriako has an option and they have no excuse not to comply because of the complexity of our systems. Three is to detect taxpayers and traders who do not comply and make non-compliancy very difficult, hard, and costly. And I think we've seen some of our risk management tools, and there's a lot of data science going on, again, to make sure that we identify these risks, these leakages, and be able to speak to them. Number four is really about our staff. One of the questions I kept getting is that this is a heavy investment, and how do you sustain it? Is it that it's done by vendors? I am happy to tell you that a number of the solutions we've seen have been actually developed by Ugandans in the URA here. And therefore, we have sustainability on their delivery. And so, as an objective, we shall continually develop a high-performing, diverse, agile, and engaged workforce, and we work very hard with our HR team to make sure that our IT teams and the technology people are taken care of, they are supported, they are trained, and they are engaged. Number five is to increase and expand the use of data within a comprehensive knowledge management framework. And this is really to drive integrity, to derive insights, and to improve outcomes. The Honorable Minister kept saying, "Ore, you're showing me all this, but I want to know how has it translated into the bottom line, incomes." And so our focus is really around the outcomes in terms of the revenue and development of our country. Six is to modernize our systems and to provide digital streamlined online services to shorten customer journeys. Like I said, taxes should be paid like a water bill. From your bathroom, when you're at the beach, wherever you are, you should be able to do this. And whatever we are doing is to make sure that our customer journeys are digitalized. That's why if you are at the border, we should scan your goods. And if you're going to the bonded warehouse, we shouldn't scan them. You should simply go to the bonded warehouse and we'll track you with the BIM systems that we've seen. And so therefore shorten our customer journeys. Number seven is demonstrate resource stewardship. I think the CFG will tell you that we've cut down IT costs even as we're elevating its footprint by being very frugal and not allowing vendors to just dump things here or bring in complicated systems that don't translate into value for us. And this is a critical part of our success story. Number 7 is to work through stakeholders. Why we're even having this event is simply because we don't do this work alone. This event was sponsored by our friends from UNDP, and we have IRAS there who is helping us to make inroads into every local government, working together with us through the local government. And we have a lot of other stakeholders, both national and international, that help us. So we have very intent to make sure that we work through our stakeholders, whether they are taxpayers, like Casita, traders, employers, MDAs, partners, and vendors, because vendors support us quite a lot to improve this tax ecosystem. Lastly is to build public trust. Because we are custodians of a lot of data in the URA, for both traders, for banks, for the like, we need to make sure that our systems are secure, they are cyber-proof, and that you can be confident in the security that we have. And there's a lot of work, again, within this strategy around that theme. The overall outcome for us is simply to make sure that there is value coming through and that we're collecting the revenue. This is just a chart of what IT does here. I'll not jump through it. And lastly, I will really just want to point you to some of the things that you've already seen. Today we are launching our strategy. We've seen the data center. We've seen the USSD channel for some of us. We've seen a new portal that is simplified to give us easier customer journeys and experiences, a better look and feel. If you look at our portal, it's been really complicated. You need a degree in internet surfing to be able to navigate it. But we have simplified that. We have talked about the accounting module that, again, simplifies the ledgers. There's a lot of many other things. The web forms, to make sure that you don't have to fill in all these Excel sheets that you fill in during the return, especially for taxes like VAT, because we've collected this information through IFRIS. And therefore, we should auto-file it. And your job is just to come in, either increase the number or just click submit and be done with the tax filing. And this you can do on your mobile phone with ease. We've seen a lot of other things like the touch point and the like. So without really taking a lot of time, this is the story of why we are launching this strategy. The things you've seen are just the beginning, but where we are going is that we want to see technology infused in every business process and taxpayer service, from smart portals to e-filing to audits that are electronic, like we've seen with the image scanners, to predictive modeling in terms of the risks and the revenue projections, to workflows that are automated, and the taxation being done online on mobile phones, data being matched from across the different sources. Like right now, through our TRD team, we have automatic exchange of information. This should help us to map our international traders and understand what they're doing at home and abroad, and the transaction flows across the countries by data matching. Automated enforcement, so that we do not have to run around every other time to do enforcement, but we can automate this and be able to deliver value. Single integrations with others, simplified accounting, case management. Right now, we delight ourselves a lot in automatic dispute resolution, but we've also automated the whole process of case management through the litigation team. And we want this kind of engagement to be online so that there isn't a lot of paper pushing and delays coming out of that. A lot of cross-border collections. We have dumping on the borders. We have a lot of things that go on. But by integrating with our neighbors, we can get visibility on our goods and the transaction flows that happen. And we want this to be multi-channel, meaning that you don't have to be an expert of using the internet, because some people are experts of using their feature phone. And so we need to take care of the border person as well as the MTNs of this world. And so we're taking this across channels to make sure that there is value across the tax base. And so this is our story. This is why we are launching this strategy. And the hope that eventually we'll be able to work together with everybody in this room to deliver what we call our massive transformative purpose as the URA, as the IT team. And this is to say that we want a simplified tax experience near you. Whether you're a staff, whether you're a stakeholder, whether you're a taxpayer. This is where we are going. And this is what we will ask that you work with us into the future as we implement this strategy. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to me. It was quite a speedy conversation, but I hope you picked out what you could. Thank you.
Can we give Mr. Mutebi a round of applause? Our chief guest, we are aware you did see quite an elaborate display of this technology on ground when you did tour the different facilities. I do want, and again, to request that we all applaud the city department, city CITI, so when I say city, of the URA. Can we give them a round of applause for a job well done? Thanks, great performers. But also in, appreciating what we call development partnerships that actually work for the good of our people. Can we give the UNDP a round of applause? Our chief guest, the Honorable Minister, I know the old man of the clan, Andrew Mwenda, will keep trying to take your time. Mwenda, he's the chief guest. Give him time to listen to our speeches. Our chief guest, just as Mutebi was speaking, I was with Colin Nita, and we were discussing the issue around cybersecurity. We know what's been happening in the marketplace. The banks are represented here. And he did mention they will discuss that in the panel discussion shortly about the fact that URA has invested a lot of money in building those walls to protect the taxpayer. But our hackers always find a way. And so I'm sure Nita Uganda will tell us how they're working with URA to protect our taxpayers and the taxpayers' information, but also government's money. I'm told you were asking about the bottom line. For you, everything was about, okay, where is the money? Honorable Minister, I want to recognize my chairman, the chairman of NAB, Kin Karisa, but of course is here on behalf of Next Media. Kin, thanks for coming. And of course, the CEO of the Independent Magazine. I think he would kill me if I didn't mention Andrew Mwenda, who also joined us. Can we give them a round of applause for supporting government's communication around taxes? I want to quickly now transition to our partners and invite, but before I invite the UNDP, allow me to recognize, Honorable Minister, some of our key service providers, but also key stakeholders. URA is probably the only second institution after the UBC to be more inclusive on the issues of sign language. Because Kin has just come recently and he's adding sign language to his portals. But sign language is critical, and URA has been inclusive. If you look at all their platforms on social media, including their YouTube channel where they broadcast all their content live, there is already sign language. And I want to introduce my colleague today, Olivia Nachigozi Bulenga, who's doing the sign language. And also introduce Ms. Jessie Abonyo, who will handle the panel discussion that will come a little later. I want to take the pleasure of inviting the UNDP Deputy Country Representative, Ms. Sheila Ngatia, to come and make her address. Can we give her a warm hand of applause?
Thank you so much, Morris. Honorable Matia Kasaija, Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, the honorable members of Parliament, led by the Finance Committee Chair and all the members, the Commissioner General of URA and the board members, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let me stand on all the established protocols in the interest of time, and good morning. Good morning. I know it's been a long wait, but I hope we'll stay the course. I bring you greetings from the UNDP resident representative, Madame Elsie Atafua. She's out of the country, but we are here with a big UNDP team, and it is really with profound honor that we join you at this landmark launch of the digital strategy of the Uganda Revenue Authority. And this strategy follows closely on the heels of the government's National Digital Transformation Roadmap that was launched by Her Excellency the Vice President of Uganda in August of this year, which underscores the government's commitment to harnessing the full potential of digital technology for achieving Uganda's 2040 vision, and by extension, the development goals, the SDGs. Let me begin by really sincerely congratulating the entire URA team under the visionary leadership of the Commissioner General for the strong leadership in spearheading all these transformative digital initiatives. We have spent very exciting, we have spent very exciting almost 2 hours touring the various centers, the exhibition, and really, I must say, I'm so impressed by what we witnessed. And also, I'm very impressed by the expertise and knowledge of the URA staff. So I want us to really applaud Team URA. Really well done, well done. It was so impressive, and we really salute you, for the depth of, expertise and knowledge that you have demonstrated. The launch of this digital strategy and the overall digital transformation which the Commission has presented is very timely and relevant in the current global and regional development context. Countries across the world are facing mounting pressure to mobilize domestic resources, to improve the services to taxpayers, and to meet the Sustainable Development Goals. And for us as the United Nations, what we can note is that Africa remains a continent with the largest number of countries which are below the minimum desirable tax to GDP ratio of 15% to achieve the SDGs. And numerous studies have shown that African countries have considerable room to collect more revenue based on their tax potential. And in this context, the digitalization of tax administration in Uganda has the potential to positively shape government's move to improve efficiency, transparency, and equitability of the tax system. And also from the point of view of the taxpayers, to improve a more seamless effort in terms of their tax compliance and a user-friendly experience by integrating it into their daily life, into business activities. I will not read a speech in the interest of time in full, but I just want to, point out why for us as UNDP, we feel this strategy is important and why it also matters, for Uganda. And indeed, the Commissioner CT, I think, has given an excellent and detailed presentation on this. This strategy not only will consolidate and scale up ongoing efforts for digitalization of tax administration, but will also be significant in terms of enhancing domestic revenue mobilization for development and the positive impact on the people of Uganda through service delivery and greater investment in critical sectors such as health, education, agriculture, infrastructure, trade, tourism, social protection, etc. And these are all critical to achievement of the SDGs. And this is why some of you may be asking, what is the relationship? Why is UNDP, the United Nations, here, partnering with the URA? And it is because of this linkage between enhancing domestic revenue mobilization through tax administration and also being able then to support efforts, towards the investment in the various SDGs. Very briefly, what is UNDP doing to harness digital transformation in Uganda? As UNDP, we have been working with various state and non-state actors to promote digitalization and innovation as accelerators of Uganda's structural transformation. For example, in investing in development integrated digital ecosystem. UNDP partnered with the Ministry of ICT, and I believe we have the ministry representatives here, on the design and implementation of the digital transformation roadmap that I mentioned was launched by Her Excellency the Vice President in August, as well as on the design of the government's e-commerce policy, Uganda's big data utilization strategy, and the National Startup Ecosystem Strategy. We have also invested in supporting innovation ecosystems in Uganda. We have partnered with the Ministry of ICT, with the Makerere University, and we will be partnering again with other universities and with other private sector entities to establish innovation hubs and provide mentorship and resources to young innovators and startups in Uganda. To ensure the effective implementation of both the National Digital Transformation Roadmap and URA's digital strategy, we must collectively then undertake a number of following actions: collaboration and partnerships among government agencies, development partners including the UN system, private sector and civil society, in order to pool the resources, expertise and innovation. 2 is around capacity building of workforce and taxpayers in order to adapt and take advantage of all the opportunities presented by the digital era. 3rd is the issue around inclusivity, to ensure that digital transformation reaches all the segments of society. And it's great to see local governments here, traders, the small traders, to see startups, to see the big corporates, banks, among others. And also, as has been shown with the sign language interpreter here, this is really great for inclusivity, URA, and well done. You're reaching really, all the segments of society. And lastly, the issue of cybersecurity and data protection, and Commissioner spoke about this. It is important to prioritize robust cybersecurity measures and data protection to maintain trust and integrity in digital systems. So, Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, on behalf of UNDP, we congratulate the URA team once again upon reaching this milestone. Today's launch of the URA's digital strategy is a testament to Uganda's commitment to harnessing the transformative power of technology for effective and efficient tax administration for inclusive and sustainable development. And UNDP remains steadfast in our support of these efforts, and we stand ready to collaborate with all stakeholders to achieve our shared vision of a digitally empowered tax system in Uganda. Together we can build a future where all Ugandans enjoy the benefits of digitalization, where no one is left behind, and where our nation continues to thrive and to prosper. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Shilangatia from the UNDP and the entire UNDP team that is well represented here. Can we give them another round of applause? Honorable Minister, we in the Fourth Estate like to recognize each other, and I know the other taxpayers will be uncomfortable, but we do this. We are family. My BBS colleague Busula is here. I also want to recognize you. Thank you for joining us this afternoon, early morning and the morning and early afternoon for this digital strategy launch. Honorable Minister, we have a team from Malawi, the Malawi Revenue Authority, who are here on a benchmarking exercise. If you could stand for recognition, Malawi team, please stand for recognition. I'm not sure where they are, Ibrahim. I don't know if they are looking at the booths, but I know they are in country and they're here at URA. They are on a benchmarking exercise, Honorable Minister, and that's part of what URA has been doing with their colleagues in the region to share knowledge on how to build effective systems to drive efficiency and service delivery in our country and in our region. I want to now take the pleasure of inviting the Commissioner General, URA, Mr. John Rujochi, to come and make his remarks, and thereafter he'll invite a board member to make their remarks, who will then invite the Honorable Minister to come and make his remarks at this digital strategy launch. Can we give the CG a round of applause?
Our guest of honor this morning, the Honorable Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Honorable Matia Kasaija, our development partners, led by Madam Sheila Ngatia, the Deputy Resident Representative of UNDP and your entire team, our honorable members of Parliament present here, the distinguished captains of industry and businesses in our country, our valued taxpayers present here, heads of different government agencies that are present with us this morning, the leaders of the different business associations represented here, our partners in technology, and those that give us technical support. I see the Chief of Party of USAID present in the room, leaders of the media companies present here, and all the members of the Fourth Estate, distinguished colleagues, staff of Uganda Revenue Authority, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning. I'm still in the morning. Very good morning to everyone here. I would like to start by thanking the Almighty God who has given us the opportunity to gather here today to celebrate a very important milestone in the transformational journey that has been taking place at the Uganda Revenue Authority, where today we launch our IT strategy covering the next 3 years, but also share and launch a number of IT innovations that we've been working on over the last 3 years that are adding value to the mission of developing our nation through efficient revenue mobilization. Honorable Minister, the purpose for today's launch was, one, to have the opportunity to share with you and all the invited guests and stakeholders what we've been attempting to do in improving our taxpayer experience. A lot of the solutions you have seen are aimed at making things easy for the taxpayers, but they will also make it easy for the government of Uganda to efficiently collect revenue, and for the URA as a department responsible for that. So we have been working on a number of initiatives, and I will not repeat them. We saw just a few when we went out to visit, and we are humbled and honored by the comments and appreciations that we have so far received. But there is a lot more that we've been doing on the side of technology. As an organization, we strongly believe that technology is the future and also the present way of handling revenue collection efficiently. We also believe that it increases transparency, it increases tax compliance, it makes life enjoyable for our taxpayers, and it will minimize the battles and the conflicts we've been having around tax collection. So this is the current and it is the future of URA. So without taking so much time, let me briefly comment that the transformation, the IT transformation has not just started recently. URA embarked on this journey in the year 2009. And this is when we were able to acquire transformational systems like the e-tax for managing the domestic taxes, like a SCUDA for managing the international taxes or customs duties. And over the years, we've acquired further technologies, systems like our enterprise resource management system, the ERP, systems like IFRIS, which we saw a little bit, and digital tracking systems. So there has been a progressive journey of ICT innovations and investments. However, this year, 2023, marks a milestone and a launch into a new phase of digital transformation. And this is the phase that my dear brother, the Commissioner IT, was explaining. It is the phase of simplifying taxation, as I've already mentioned, but it is a phase of big data analytics. As you saw in our data center, Honorable Minister, and I will shortly come to appreciate you and the entire government of Uganda for helping us have such a very fundamental infrastructure for enabling the future that we are launching into today of big data analytics, and that is our data center. But the future technology that we are launching into in this year of 2023 is big data analytics, it is machine learning, it is predictive artificial intelligence, and it is the transformation of the entire tax administration using technology. So, Honorable Minister, allow me now to launch into appreciation, and I'll start with you. I'll start with the government of the Republic of Uganda for enabling Uganda Revenue Authority to be able to harness and take advantage of technology in doing our work. The current financial year budget for IT spend is approximately 96 billion, all from the government of Uganda. And I want you to clap for the Honorable Minister of Finance and to clap for the honorable members of Parliament, the honorable chair of the finance committees here, and all our leaders in government for such a committed dedication. And above all, I would like us to clap and appreciate His Excellency the President as the leader of our government who bears the vision. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much for investing in technology, and thank you for enabling us move this far. Honorable Minister, I'd like to assure you that every penny you give us to spend on technology will be well spent. Just as an example, I would like to illustrate this data center, which is state-of-the-art, and I'm sure it is #1 data center in this country in terms of the investment in there was done at a very optimal investment. About 3 years ago, we launched the effort to acquire that data center, but there was a problem in the specifications that we launched about 3 years ago, and that was going to make it a little more expensive. Not actually a little more expensive, almost double the cost it has cost us, because it was talking about a tier 4 data center, and everybody who is conversant with technology, you would know that a tier 4 data center is not in existence in this part of the world, but also you cannot achieve it in a tower like this one. So it was a high spec for a data center that we could not achieve. And you know the rules of procurement. We could not change the spec midway the procurement process. So what did we do? We decided to abort that procurement. We revised the spec to a tier 3 data center, which is good enough for our work because the tier 4s are owned by the Googles of this world, but also make it possible for government to finance it. So the budget and the commitment that had been earmarked for the data center came from 33 billion, and we have achieved this slightly below 20 billion, about 19.7. It is not the only investment where we have saved. Honorable Ministers, I was sharing with you earlier, some of the technologies that we had were vendor-driven. Vendor-driven, it means a vendor comes, he's eager to sell you your technology, and because you have not planned your ICT path, which is now outlined in this strategy, then they cause you to acquire. So you acquire what you don't need. You acquire what is duplicating services done. And over the last 3 years, we've been able to reduce some of our major technology costs on the major platforms that we use, especially for data management, from about 47 billion to about slightly below 30 billion. So there's another saving of about 18 billion on the contracts of the platforms that we use. So, Honorable Minister, why I'm giving some of these examples, and there are many, is that for every money that you invest in us or you entrust us with to build our technology capacity, it will be well spent. This is why now we are talking that within the same budget of IT that we've been receiving, we shall be able to acquire artificial intelligence, we shall be able to acquire machine learning technologies within the budget because of optimal spend. So on this point, I thank you, Honorable Minister and Parliament, for investing in us, but I also thank the staff of URA who have been part of this revolutionary journey of spending effectively to enable us acquire more technology that we need to drive us into the efficient future. Let me take a moment also to thank you, Honorable Minister, and Honorable Members of Parliament, beyond investing in technology, for investing in our human resources. As you will agree with me, and on this one I'll ask the members of URA present here, most of them are busy working in the tower, to clap for our leaders. But this last financial year, Honorable Minister and Honorable Members of Parliament, you agreed an enhancement in our welfare. This has motivated the staff, and now they are working day and night to make sure that we deliver the Uganda we all dream of. Someone gave me a call last night as they were driving past. Because of the road works, the traffic jam is quite intense here, and I should have started by thanking you for braving the jam to join us this morning. But someone called me at about 10 o'clock and he said, the tower is all lit. What is happening? I said, we are busy working. Honorable Minister, the environment in this tower and at this campus is like none other in any government sector. People work up to midnight. Because we have a mission to accomplish, we no longer work time, we work mission. And I thank you so much for motivating the team that works so hard. I would like at this juncture to appreciate the board of Uganda Revenue Authority, led by the chair, Mr. Juma Chisami, who is not here today, and he registered his apologies. He had already committed this week in another engagement. But we thank you, Honorable Chair of our board, and all the honorable members of the board for believing in us. In the year 2021, we took a proposals management to the board to alleviate the division of IT from just a division to a department. Because we realized that in every top management meeting we had, and we always meet weekly, there is no discussion that would be talking about that would not be requiring IT support. So before even they could do that, we started inviting the assistant commissioner, who is not a member of MEC, to start attending all our MEC meetings so as to give us direction. But there was limited budget, and we took this proposal to the board, and the board graciously accepted to believe in us and alleviate this. I think this has been one of the most important decisions that our board has made, and I want you to clap for them. So that is how we are able to attract talents like the Commissioner Robert, who has been here, but also to retain a number of very qualified and very competent IT professionals. So now we have a full-fledged board. We have not yet fully constituted it. We are still having gaps to fill, and soon you will see an advert looking for IT experts. We want to build internal capacity. Honorable Ministers, you saw most of the innovations out there are internally developed, and that is the way to go. We are looking forward to enhance that capacity more and more until when we have automated all our processes and we are efficiently running this business. So I want to thank the board for that support, but I also want to thank them for the constant guidance. Honorable Ministers, you may know one of the requests that the board put to you, because I'm a member of the board and I'm privy to this information, we are requesting for the 7th member of the board. And when he comes on board, he will help us to constitute an IT and strategy subcommittee of board. Now that subcommittee of board will be able to closely guide, but even in its absence, our board chair and board members have done an incredible job. I want to quickly move to thank other partners that have made this day colorful. I want to appreciate our development partners, the UNDP, Deputy Representative. I want to thank you with your entire team. Madam Sheila, thank you for supporting us. All this beauty that you see around here today, everything that you're seated on, that you're viewing, the media, the food, has been covered by our partners, the UNDP, and I want to thank you so much. We spent everything that we had, and at the end of the exercise, we had no money to spend to show what we have done. We would have easily missed this great, colorful day had it not been for you to come in handy. But you have already supported us in many other technical areas, and we appreciate this constant support. They are just representing a number of many other development partners. You said is in the house, and a number of embassies. They have all been supportive. As a matter of fact, the ambassadors of Northern Ireland, the UK, the Netherlands, they have all been supporting us in transforming this organization. They have invited us to their countries. We've seen how things are done, and at this point, I want us to clap for them and acknowledge them. Our guests of honor and distinguished guests, let me now also acknowledge and appreciate our technology partners. We would never have done this without their support. There are members that we met when we visited the data center from CBIL and all the technology companies that you worked with. Thank you very, very much for supporting us where we could not reach on our own. And there are a number of other providers that give us the different platforms. Let me also now appreciate my colleagues, the honorable members, leaders of the different government agencies that support us. There is no way we can move this far without your support. So I've seen NITAU in the house. I saw Colin around. Thank you for this constant support. As you know, the government rules require that we do not buy anything. Yes, Colin is here, without the approval of NITA, because they must check, are we duplicating something that exists in government? And they provide standards. We thank you very much. I've seen representatives from UNBS. They partner with us. I've seen representatives from the local government. I may not be able to mention everyone, but if you're from the MDAs that support us to advance on this front, I thank you. And may God bless you. Let's continue the work of partnership together. Very briefly, Honorable Minister, allow me now to thank the men and women of Uganda Revenue Authority who work so hard to make some of these things come to pass. I think I've already briefly mentioned what the IT group has been doing, but beyond the IT team, every commissioner and every member of senior management who is here, please relay my appreciation to our foot soldiers who work day and night to protect our revenue on all the border stations and who have pledged themselves to a new transformational journey of efficiently developing our country. And I will speak about this as I conclude. Honorable Minister, about 2 years ago, when we are celebrating our 30th birthday, we relaunched our mission and our vision statement. We said we can no longer exist as URA, and if you read this strategy book that we are launching, on page 2 in my remarks, you'll find what we stand for. But early enough, before we knew that there would be times when we may not get a lot of donor support, we said URA exists with a clear mission of mobilizing revenue for our national development in a transparent and efficient manner. And for us to be able to achieve this, Honorable Minister, we identified 5 key areas where we'll put our focus so that we will be able to do this mandate, and we will be catalysts for the development of our country. The 5 areas that we earmarked are the following. One is what we are launching today, digitizing and automating all our processes to make them efficient and transparent. We have been on that journey, and today is the milestone that we are celebrating. But we also pledged ourselves to serve our country with integrity and professionalism. So we introduced three key attributes that every staff must aspire to have if they are to serve in this organization. And one of them is professionalism, the next one is integrity, and the third is patriotism. This has been a rough and tough journey, but Honorable Minister, I'm happy to report to you that we are making significant progress. The men and women before you here are working with total dedication to make sure that we do this honorable mission with dignity and honor. And where did we pick our inspiration from? In January, 19th of January 2019, His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, came here to open our new tower. And when he was given a visitor's book to sign, this is what he had to say. He said, "Congratulations, URA, on the new tower. Remember, this is holy ground for the revolution of Uganda." So, this was from the head and the leader of our revolution. He acknowledged that Uganda has gone through the revolution of NRA and URA that ushered in peace and tranquility and the development that we are seeing. But the next front line is Uganda's economic independence. Uganda can only be fully independent when we are able to balance our budget. Uganda can only be fully independent when we can treat our sick, educate our children, make our citizens enjoy being citizens of this country, and not to go to look for opportunities elsewhere where the conditions are much worse. So this is what we adopted. So after reading the statement of His Excellency, I sat with my senior management team, we consulted all our staffs, and we revised our mission and vision statements. And that is when we said we exist, not just to hit targets, because, Honorable Minister, we have started hitting targets, and I want to assure you, we shall not look back. We shall maintain achieving targets and surpassing them. But beyond these targets, we are conscious that Uganda cannot develop when we are still collecting 13 and 14% of our GDP. Maybe let me read for you some statistics to show that where we are going, we know, and with your support, we will get there very soon. Honorable Minister and distinguished guests, in the financial year 2021-22, despite being the peak of COVID-19 and lockdown and all that, our revenue grew by 15%. We were able to collect an additional 2.5 trillion. The following financial year, 21-22, our revenue grew by 12.4%, and we were able to add an additional 2.4 trillion. Now, the last financial year, our revenue grew by 16.4%. Double-digit growth over the last 3 years. And this in value was 3.55 trillion. So, Honorable Minister, I'm told that for the first time, our tax to GDP has reached 14%. It is a far-off journey from where we want to be, but we are sure that if we maintain this steady growth, over the next 3-4 years, Uganda will get to the 18 and 20% tax to GDP. And then the Ugandans can start to expect from you as our leaders real development, because the revenue mobilized within the country will be enough to support you to develop our country. So this is our new dream. This is our vision at URA. That is why we work anytime. It doesn't matter whether it's 11 or 10 o'clock or midnight, but we work to finish this. Now that has been one of the areas we are focusing on. Very quickly, the other area we are focusing on beyond technology is performance management. We have come up with a system that transparently gives every staff of Uganda Revenue Authority a target for revenue numbers, but also a target for performance evaluation. So we will measure if you have achieved 1 trillion, how have you achieved it? Did you follow the SLAs? These are the service level agreements you've signed up to. Did you respond to our taxpayers' queries in time? Did you use a lot of force, or did you use the expected force or the expected energy to achieve these numbers? We just signed up on that contracting this financial year. So we are only 3 months into it, and we have just received the first set of appraisals. Honorable Minister and our leaders, this is another sacrificial decision that we are taking deliberately. It's not without pain, it's not without sacrifice, but we feel it's worth it, and we will stay focused on that until everybody gives their fair share of energy in achieving this mission. The other area we are focusing on is stakeholder engagement and tax sensitization. And this is what a number of innovations that you saw out there are about. The URA touch point, the contact centers, programs on TVs, and I'll be thanking shortly our media partners. We must let our taxpayers know what their responsibilities are, what their rights are, so that we work together without so much force. We work together when we are willingly, and that is the third area we are focusing on. Another area that we are focusing on, Honorable Minister, is the area of innovation and research. Again, this is what today is about. We are researching, we are innovating constantly, but that research will be a direct benefit to you as our leader in policy, so that we'll be able to give you concrete data and statistics on why we must move into certain areas where hitherto we've not moved. And I remember many times when we go to Parliament with a number of proposals, the question is, where is the empirical data to support what you are proposing? We have a new division which we just created, again, about a year ago, to help us build our capacity in research. And then finally, I think I've already mentioned the fight against corruption, the automation, the effective performance management, the research, and then taxpayer education. So those are the 5 areas of priority and focus to us as management. Those are the statistics of the improvement this has brought, and for sure, with your support, we'll get forward. So what is the message to our dear taxpayers listening to us today? Number one message, we appreciate those who have paid their taxes faithfully and sacrificially, who have been part of this growth of double digit in revenue collection, despite the challenges. And we are mindful of the challenges. We are mindful of the impact of COVID-19. We are mindful of the international wars that have impacted us. We are mindful, and that is why government, the Minister of Finance, in his wisdom, guided that we shall not bring any new tax rates and tax measures, but let us focus on improving efficiency. So despite those challenges, the growth in revenue can only be attributed to the compliant taxpayers whom we appreciate today. But number two, to those who have not been compliant, I would like to encourage you that this is the time to be. And you can take some advantages within the law to be compliant without paying penalty. For example, there is voluntary disclosure in our tax procedure code, which allows you to voluntarily disclose what you have not paid, so that you can pay the principal tax without paying penalties and interest. But also, for those who know that they owe and have not been able to pay, please take advantage of the arrears relief that has been granted by the new law that was passed by our Parliament, Tax Procedure Code 40D, which allows you to pay your principal arrears and the interest and penalty will be waived. As you have seen today in the launch of our data center, URA now has a lot of data, enough data to tell us who is doing what in the economy and what are they contributing. So it is a question of time we will catch up with the non-compliant. And the trouble is, when we come on our invitation and we establish that you have not paid any tax, you'll pay the principal tax, but you'll also pay the penalty and you'll pay the interest. So why not take advantage of these breathers or waivers within the law to pay only the principal tax and start being compliant going forward. Ladies and gentlemen, I must conclude my remarks. I'm again very humbled by the wonderful turn-up of all the guests that we invited, but I'm mostly humbled by our Honorable Minister, who has dedicated his whole morning to be with us and to spend such quality time in seeing the innovations that we are doing. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. Thank you so much, our dear members of Parliament. Thank you so much, our leaders in the media, Kim and Andrew and all the important leaders in that space. Thank you for the constant partnership with us. These are the people who help us put the right information across the public. And we want to pray for more support, because where we are going, we want more and more stakeholder engagement. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, the leaders of business, for finding the time to come and be with us, the leaders of the associations, for always helping us mobilize the taxpayers. Thank you so much, members of the professional bodies that adjudicate matters of tax. I see PwC here represented, and many others who are here whom I may not have seen. We thank you very much. Our development partners, thank you again for believing in us and for supporting us. I don't feel worthy to invite the Honorable Minister, so I will go through my chair of the Finance Committee, the Honorable Member of Parliament for Rwampara, Mr. Amos Kankunda. I invite you to come and help me invite the Honorable Minister and also make one or two remarks for the guest of honor to give us his final remark. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bwana Commissioner General. Allow me to ride on the protocols that have been mentioned earlier in the interest of time. But on a special note, my Honorable Minister, I want to thank you for dedicating this morning and the afternoon that we've gone into to be here with us, and especially my members of the Finance, Planning and Development Committee of Parliament for being present. And I have seen also staff of Parliament who are here present, and all of us. I want to appreciate you. One, I come from a background of revenue collection. And when I stand here, I see some of the members that are still in that profession, and I want to thank you because I am privy to the revolution of this revenue authority. I can tell you that back in the time when I entered in this area, which was 1995, I beg your pardon, which is approximately 28 years since then, I can see a lot of evolution that has happened. And this has been possible because of the teamwork at the Revenue Authority. And therefore, I want to thank you, Bwana Commissioner General, and the Revenue Authority staff that have made this possible. As the Committee of Parliament, I want to emphasize, because we've discussed this, that we are here to facilitate you to improve your revenue collection. And we are only here to do that because of someone who does business. And those taxpayers are the most important people. We are cognizant of the fact that we shouldn't be pressing a lot of strategies on the few that have been able to collect revenue. And therefore, how can we expand the tax base? That is very critical. As a committee, we've taken time off to go out there and look at how business is done so that we come and share with you, the Revenue Authority, and discuss on how we can facilitate you and improve this environment for more revenue collection and consequently more taxes collected. I want to thank you, my Honorable Minister, to always give us the ear. You've done that before. To give us the ear as the Committee of Parliament, to listen to our observations. And I want to thank you, Bwana Commissioner General, when you say that you do not want to come to Parliament with information that lacks empirical data. That is very critical. We decided as a committee that we are not going to approve of tax bills that do not reflect on how much revenue is going to be collected. Because when this is done, therefore, in Parliament,
in our discussion, once we don't approve of these tax bills, we know how much revenue is going to be lost. And therefore, what could have been put in the expenditures that is not going to be realized. I don't want to go into details, but I want to assure you that our Committee of Parliament is available. And you know that, Bwana Commissioner General, that we are available and we shall continuously support you, especially expanding the tax base through your domestic revenue mobilization strategy. And I want to thank you that now you're taking the notch higher to look at the digital approach. How do we do this without necessarily inconveniencing our taxpayers? How do we bring our taxpayers on board to make sure they understand their tax obligation? I am cognizant that I shouldn't be saying a lot. You know, back in the time, I was at the school where the guest of honor is the senior OB. And we've always shared that. And the headmaster there then said, may I, or may I not, or may I? And we were left confused. We didn't know why he said, may I not. But I want to be specific and say, may I therefore take this opportunity to invite you, my honorable minister, to come and speak to your people. Thank you.
Shall we sit down? Colleagues, the members of parliament who are present here, the United Nations Development Program resident representative, our visitors from Malawi, have they come back? Are they here? Oh, you will say, I have greeted them. Other development partners, officials from ministries, departments, and government agencies, the business community, URA board, senior management and staff, members of the media, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Here they wrote good morning. Now I'm saying it's good afternoon because it's good afternoon. I hope you all are well. Correct? Are you all well? Or you are hungry? We shall soon go to kill the hunger. It's with immense pleasure and a tribute that witness yet another achievement at the Uganda Revenue Authority. At this auspicious occasion of the digitization and ICT strategy launch. Me, I am not going to make a speech. They prepared a speech, I'm not making a speech. Today is not for speech making. We are only appreciating. One, I thank the staff and the management of URA for having transformed this institution. I'm also thanking our partners who have been with us in this journey. 3, the taxpayers. particularly those who are faithfully putting in their effort to pay taxes. Number two, I commit the ministry that it will give you all the necessary support you want. As long as you let me know in advance so that I can put it in the budget. Don't wake up one morning and say, Minister, I want money. No. We must plan together because we operate a national budget. Thirdly, and finally, Mr. Commissioner, I want to tax you. You have partly touched it, but I want to tax you and your team. We must rise to the tax GDP ratio of 20, not this 14, 16, which now we are lingering around. Let me repeat this. You know, when I want something to sink, I repeat. I am charging you with your staff, with our support too, that I want a tax GDP ratio of 20 within another 2-3 years. Me, I'm around. Even if I go away, I will leave this instruction to my predecessor. Why am I emphasizing this? Banange nkoyo okwewora. Those of you who understand this language, let me repeat. I am tired of borrowing. Especially to go on the borrow, the other side, you know, they kick you around like a small boy. That humiliation. Commissioner General and your staff, please save me that humiliation. Then they will tell you, if you don't do this, we shall not give you the money. If you don't do this, banana. A mature state of Uganda to be humiliated. If you don't do this, we shall do that. You remember the late, you are aware of the late, I leave it, I'm sure you all have understood. So, we must raise our revenue, which will help us to develop the country. Maybe another point is that in your working, you must support me to create more jobs and valuable jobs for our youth. You people who are here, you may not have observed, but we who travel in the rural area and they go for ceremonies, the issue of job creation for our youth. You know, Uganda, we are very prolific. We still have families producing 10 children. Even someone told me he has got 50 children. But that's beside the point. The children are born. When they are born, they are Ugandans. They are entitled to education, first of all. And when they complete their education, they are entitled to get work. So that they also can live a decent life. They can realize their potential. So, URA, I want you to partner with me. We shall do, as I said, the best we can to generate revenues, make sure that we support industries, we make infrastructure, we make schools, We build the hospitals, etc. I have finished my message. What do I do now? Do I now declare? What do I do? Commissioner General, do I declare? I have finished. I've told you my words.
Declare it officially launched today, and then you hand it over to us to upload.
So I sign. Today is what?
Today is the 13th of October, 2023.
I hand this to you?
Yes, sir.
I'm handing this strategy the Commissioner General. Okay, friends.
The other signatures later.
Sorry. Shall we go to back again? Okay. So thank you very much indeed, and may the good Lord keep you healthy so that you can pay taxes that will do a wonderful job in developing our country called Uganda. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we give the Honorable Minister a thunderous applause?